So let's bring in our panel, Bret Baier, Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, and former CIA Station Chief Dan Hoffman. Good to have all of you with us, gentlemen. Bret, let's take a quick go-round, and let's start with you, Bret. Your reaction to what we just heard from President Zelenskyy.
Martha, I think President Zelenskyy has, over the past couple of weeks, tried to make this personal. He's tried to make it, in each address that he's given to a country, personal to that country. Bill, you mentioned that he referenced and echoed Pearl Harbor and 9/11, saying this is happening in our country every day, right now, at this moment, every night for 3 weeks. He talked about Martin Luther King, I have a dream, saying I have a need, and called specifically for S-300 surface-to-air missiles and MiG-29s. He has done this effectively, as I mentioned, to Parliament, House of Commons, using words of Churchill and Shakespeare, and just this past week talking to Canadian lawmakers, saying, what if this attack happened in Toronto or Vancouver? He's an effective deliverer of the message. The question is whether it is going to move the needle with these lawmakers who have been reticent to do anything outside of that could potentially provoke World War III. I think, and the general may have words about this, there may be alternatives that start to develop up on Capitol Hill and elsewhere. Humanitarian corridors, no-fly zones to get in humanitarian aid, and with a warning to the Russians that any confrontation would spark a defense of those aircraft. But I think you're going to see this effective pitch by the Ukrainians to get more help, and more help will be on the way.
Yeah, he also pointed out the need for more sanctions. He basically said more sanctions every single day, that all American companies needed to cut their ties with Russia, that the sort of rolling tide of sanctions would continue to put pressure on Russia. He said it is flooded with our blood. The money that is made in Russia is flooded with our blood. He said he also talked about something, U-24, a united 24 countries who would form a new alliance to provide each other with weapons. Obviously, the door, he feels, at least for now, closed to NATO and potentially to the EU as well for him. So he is imagining a future that would include some sort of new alliances at this point, Bill.
And I think about the video that was just played here. This is a savvy politician. And when it comes to the information war, Ukraine is clearly winning that. To General Kellogg and Dan Hoffman as they join our discussion here. General, your initial reaction to what we just heard here from the president in Kyiv.
Yeah, Bill, Martha as well. Look, he has weaponized the English language, and he's just been powerful in his delivery. You're right about the information war. He's captured it very well. That video was incredibly powerful. And he's also challenged President Biden. He said, are you the lead? Basically, he said to President Biden today, are you the leader of the free world? And you must respond to that. And President Biden has a hard task now in front of him because he has to lead the world. And there's options, there's creative ways to help Ukraine. You don't have to put troops on the ground right now. We can create, as you said, a potential humanitarian free no-fly zone. But if we give them the air defense assets and we just make that enormously difficult for them to put missiles on the ground, they the Russians or aircraft, they can do that with the S-300 system. It's like our Patriot system. But take air defense systems and put them around point targets and make sure they can continually move that towards the east. You know, right now, what's absolutely stunning to everybody is that Ukraine is fighting Russia to a standstill. They are. I mean, Russia is not winning this war. They've not been able to penetrate Kyiv. They've had over 7,000 or 8,000 casualties, according to several reports. They only lost 15,000 in Afghanistan. And if they're approaching Afghanistan numbers, then they've got a huge problem in front of them. And Zelenskyy, to his credit, he is a wartime leader. He is worth divisions of soldiers, because the people of Ukraine are rallying around him, and they will fight to the end. And we ought to be on their side in every way possible. If they want a BB gun, give them a BB gun. If they want a rock, give them a rock. If they want air defense, give them an air defense. And for God's sake, give them the MiGs too. Poland wants to give them up. They're fourth-generation fighters. Fifth generation means stealth. They're good aircraft. It'll increase their air force by 1/3. They can fight this out. As he said earlier, You know, I don't need a ride. I need ammunition. I need support. I need logistics. Let's give it to them.
No. Thank you, General. Stand by one moment here. Dan Hoffman now joins our coverage. And Dan, you've spent a lot of time in Moscow. You spent your life studying Putin. You spent your life studying the old communist regime there. There was an excellent piece in the Washington Post this morning. I encourage all our viewers to find it. Putin's war proves Russia is no longer a superpower. Here is the end sentence, Dan. And I think the sum of what we've been watching over the past 3 weeks, the debacle in Ukraine is the end of Russia's superpower status. In his obsession, Putin has revealed unprovoked the extent of his nation's decline. Do you agree with that as we stand here today, Dan?
That might be true, but Russia is more dangerous to the world than arguably Russia or the Soviet Union might ever have been. It's such an extraordinarily powerful speech from President Zelenskyy. Ukraine is under siege right now. Russia is raining down hell on Ukrainian civilians. And let's not forget that Russian mercenaries are trying to kill President Zelenskyy. There's been reportedly at least 3 attempts on his life. I'm sure there have been quite a number more that Ukraine has been able to prevent. President Zelenskyy made it abundantly clear to all of us he's on the front lines with his countrymen and women defending our values, freedom, democracy, and liberty. And the question for the United States is whether we're going to stand with Ukraine to defend those values. The United States has really tilted towards Russia since going back to the Obama administration's reset policy. Are we all in right now? Are we going to help Ukraine fight this war and win it? I think we might want to take a page out of Russia's strategy. We may need to escalate a little bit in order to de-escalate. If we don't show that we're serious about making this prohibitively costly to Vladimir Putin in terms of spilled blood and treasure, and there's more we can do, then he will carry on killing Ukrainian civilians. And President Zelenskyy was right to say there's blood on our hands, all of us, for not having done enough. There's more we can do. I think Bret made a really good point about the S-300 air defense system. That is something that we absolutely should be providing Ukraine.
We do expect that we're going to hear from President Biden a little bit later today. General Kellogg, we expect that we will be upping the financial price tag of our weapons help to $1.2 billion in terms of what we're sending. And I want to go back to what you just mentioned because I noted that as well. He said, President Biden, I wish you to be the leader of the free world. And I think history is going to look back on this moment because there is a shift going on in the global dynamic, in the alignment of nations, whether it's Russia, China, Iran, the United States, a newly strengthened NATO. And the United States has a role to play, or it's a moment where the United States kind of allows others to play that role. Do you believe that?
Martha, absolutely. Look, this is an opportunity for the United States to really be in the driver's seat for freedom around the world. And, you know, I'm a big America First guy, which means you protect American interests first. Well, these are American interests. You know, this is our defend freedom and our way of life internationally as well. And he's called out to us. And this is a time that Americans respond well to callings. And this is a chance for us to reset the entire world. Trust me, China's taken notice. Kim Jong-un in North Korea is taking notice. The Iranians are taking notice. Everybody is taking notice on our stand today. And this is the time you have to be a little bit fearless, move forward. As Dan made the comment earlier, let's escalate. Let's put us on the escalation train. Let's push forward and push hard on Putin. I think he's at a breaking point. And I think this is a chance to reset everything. This is a historic day. It's a historic week. It's been a historic last 20 days. And we should capitalize on that.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.